Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Not Loose Links, but Getting the Loose on a Friday night. This is a series that will happen at least about once a month, where it's not the main show. Getting Loose on a Friday night will include interviewing panellists, finding out what a panellist does to prep before a show, and a lot more behind the scenes that you've never seen before. But on tonight's first series, joining me on the panel this evening and being interviewed just by herself is Claire Browning-May.
Hello.
Evening, Claire, this is a bit weird, isn't it? I'm a bit freaked out that there's only two of us. I'm not used to this.
Me too, because I bet you it's just me on a big screen and it's like, oh, hello.
But it should be good. I have got to tell you, you are our guinea pig.
Thank you. I don't mind being a guinea pig.
I do need to make you aware of this.
Fine.
Claire, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 52. I live on my own, as in with my children. I've got two children. I've got a girl of 13. I've got a boy of 16, nearly 17, who has cerebral palsy. Right. I lived in Newark to start with, and when I left school, I started at KFC to get some money, because I was then going to work in Mansfield. Go to college to study catering, because I was going in the army.
Wow.
So it was a 2-year course, so I stayed on a full-time with that. Failed the second year on one of the exams, so stayed full-time at KFC, and then went through all the interviews for the army and nearly got in, and then I met a man, which lasted 4 years. Of course, didn't go in the army, stayed on at KFC for 4 years, but then got promoted to manager, and at the right young age of 23, they was opening their first drive-through in Mansfield. Wow. And they asked me if I would go over there and run that. So at the time I lived with my parents. So that was the opportunity, one, to move out, and two, to take this managerial role, which I did. And hence 30 years later, I'm still in Mansfield. Left on maternity leave when I had my son. So I didn't work for 14 years, of course, because he had cerebral palsy. And then I had my daughter 3 years later. And I split with their father quite early on. So been on my own for 12, 13 years. And then my youngest left primary, and this job came about at a primary school. And a friend of mine told me about it. Great for you, you know. It started off as a care assistant, working in the foundation stage. So I went, first interview ever, because of course at KFC, a friend of mine worked there, and I used to go in and help wash up, and I got the job there. So never had an interview in my life, you know, at the ripe old age, at 49 I got the job at 49. So I was very nervous, even though it was a school that my children went to. And I got the job. And I've been there now. I'm in the end of my 3rd year nearly, in foundation. I started off in foundation 2, but now I'm in foundation 1, which is really different. It's more play in foundation 1, which is me, even though I'm 52, I act too, which I love. And I was just overwhelmed by that I got it, you know, like I say, never having an interview before, and there was other candidates who went for it, and that's it. So basically my children now are 13, nearly 17. So for me to go out, and especially in this pandemic, it was just great, you know, and that's it. So, you know, 2 jobs in the whole time. But the job that I'm in now, like I say, 3 years, I love it.
So yes, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Also, you come across Claire as this very quite confident person when you're on Loose Links behind the screen, and you give an opinion like you're quite confident. Is that normal everyday life, Claire?
No, actually, it's quite the opposite. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like just a charade there. I am quite quiet, and I'm not really outspoken. You know, growing up at school, especially, they called me Waterworks because, especially if the teacher said anything to me, I'd cry. You know, and I wouldn't be up for confrontation. And that I wasn't a popular child, and I wasn't one of the non-popular. I was sort of in the middle, but not very confident at all. You know, so actually, like being on Loose Links is like whoa, especially the first time. You know, when I was asked, it were like, no, why am I going to go on something like that where everybody can see me? Do you know what I mean? And it's quite surprised me actually that I actually said, yeah, I'll do it.
So how did you, Claire, tell us how you learned or you heard about Loose Links?
Well, as I say, growing up in Newark, in a street at the time then, of course, where everybody, the children played on the street, I had a really good friend, Suzanne. And although I live here, of course, with the wonderful world of Facebook, you can then stay in touch and things or reconnect, should I say, to start with. And she put me in touch, and you know, she asked me, and I thought, no. But again, she's known me since little and being small, and I just think she knows that, yeah, I've got this persona of being quiet, but this might then bring me out my shell, you know, because it's not actually face to face. It is quite nervy, but you're sort of just looking at a screen. You know, if I look around my room now, there's just me. You know, and you don't realise that sometimes when you're talking to the panel and that when this goes out, there could be, you know, a few thousand people watching you, and then you just think, whoa.
I don't mean to scare you, but up to now, season 2, and I hope I'm not jinxing this, but it's 2,000 to 3,000 that watch the show.
Wow. Yeah, it is really, really, really scary. You know, like you say, I'm just like looking at you, and then like looking at myself, just checking that like none of my hair's going to go ooh in a minute. But yeah, it's really weird. You know, like I say.
What was the turning point for you then? What was the point? Because as you said, Suzanne, hello, Suzanne Paul out there. You said Suzanne asked you, like, no. So what was the turning point for you that made you think, yeah, I'm going to go for it?
Because, as I say, I've been on my own for about 12 years now, and everything I've done is for my children. Is what you know, mums do. And then when I went for the job, as I say, 3 years ago, and I got that was for me. And then when this came about, I thought, you know, this will be for me, but then hopefully to build my confidence. Even though, you know, some people might think I've got confidence, I haven't. You know, again, I'm behind a screen now, so it's just me and you don't realise that the amount of people that really are watching you. So I just thought, you know, that will probably help me and you know, come out my shell a bit more.
So, but were you able, when you found out about the project off Suzanne, did you do your research? Did you look into us? Did you watch any of the shows?
I did a little bit, but again, Suzanne's been a really good friend for a lot of years, and I just thought, you know, if she's put her heart and soul into it, then she wouldn't recommend something like that for me if she didn't think that it was right for me. So, you know, it didn't take me too long to say, yeah, go on then, I'll give it a go.
So tell me, well, not tell me, tell the audience actually, because I've set the procedure, but tell me what it's like to be a Loose Links panelist.
Oh, it's lovely. It's like joining another family. You know, you get to know when you're on, and then you can see who you're on with. And you've probably never even met these people that you've been on, that you're going to be on with. And then, of course, you send the topics, what we're going to be talking about. And then, you know, we record it, and then it's like, hi. and we don't really know these people that much. Like I say, I do know Suzanne, but not seen her for a long time. But we just not necessarily gel, but we give our opinions because everybody's different. So, you know, you might get like a younger person, an older person, and an older person, but whatever, it's really nice because we're like a family. And I think that's really, really good, because although we've got our opinions, you know, and we're all different, there's no need to fall out about it, because that's life, isn't it? You know, and that's why we come onto the show, so that we can air what we feel about.
I was talking to a friend the other day, actually, Mandy Stannard, who's also a panelist on Loose Links. And we were talking about Loose Links, and somebody asked me the other day, and I can't remember who, but somebody asked me the other day, I am going to say the TV series. I don't say it a lot, but I will say it because it is part of it. But what's the difference between Loose Links and Loose Women? What's the absolute difference? And for me, Loose Women has been made up of well-known stars that have had pasts in TV. People knew the people on the screen before they even started doing what the whole show was all about. Loose Links, we're just everyday people giving an opinion, saying what we think. And I think that's why, don't get me wrong, I can't answer for fans, but I think this is why fans are so attracted to us, because we're just everyday people giving an opinion. We're not in power, we're not able to change the world in any way, but we're able to give freedom of speech and an opinion of what we think, but we also let the big wide world join in as well. So if you haven't got the confidence to sit in front of a screen, you can answer polls, you can get in touch, you can send us emails, and I think that's the whole point of it, really, and that's why it gets so exciting. Do you agree? Totally.
I mean, the other night I watched Piers Morgan with Nolene.
Colleen Nolan.
And you know, and I thought exactly what you've just said. You know, she's been in the public eye, so a lot of people do know a lot about her. And yes, she opened up because, of course, not everything's going to be in the press, and the press is that right or wrong? But look at all the panelists in that. What I like about Loose Links is that it's a mixture of men and women, you know, so you do get the overall opinion of both. And as I say, we are just normal people, and I'm not saying they're not, but, you know, they've had a lot of experiences that we would never get. So again, you are the people who are watching Loose Links get a normal person's view of our views. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say I'm normal, Claire.
Well, no, I'm not either, but you know what I mean, that type of normal.
And the other thing is I was saying to Amanda the other day, like, you go around to when we can in June, we can go around to a friend's house and have a catch up, and I said to her, I have conversations with you on Loose Links. I would never dream of having a conversation with you. Mandy's my friend.
Yeah.
At a house. And she said to me, well, what do you mean we talk about everything? And I said, but I wouldn't go round to your house, Mandy, and go, so in Grimsby this week, have you found out somebody's murdered their child or whatever? What did you think about your children doing that? I said, I would never have that conversation with you. I would just have the conversation of about what happened in Grimsby the other day, and it's shocking. But that's as far as the conversation will go. And I think the beauty of being the anchor is that I get to hear those experiences week in, week out. I'm as much as a viewer as everybody else is. Even though I record the show, there's so much going on in my mind. When we're recording it, I have to watch it afterwards because I feel like I've missed half of what people have said.
Definitely.
And it's really good. How did you feel, Claire, when because I'll give a bit of an insight. I usually go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we start recording. How did you feel on the very first show when you were being counted in?
Oh my gosh. Of course, it just happened sort of to be asked to go onto the show. And then to say I will go on the show, and then my date was this date, and then next thing I get a message, can you do tonight? And it were like, what? You know, no prep, no nothing. And it were like, yeah, do it, because I can't like work myself up. I've got nothing, just got to do it. And when you said that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're like, hello. Oh. It's like, I'm here now. And like, oh, my little heart was like pounding. But then you just, you just settle into it and get into the flow of it. A lot easier if you do know the questions, what the topics are.
Usually you get them.
Because if you don't, it's like, don't ask me first. Don't ask me. Go to somebody else first so I can try and think of what's happening. But yeah, it's exciting. Well, it's not exciting at the beginning, but then as you get into it, you just think, yeah, and the time goes really quick, and then it's really good. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Do you, if somebody said to you, Claire, explain to me what it's like to be part of the Loose Links project, what would you say?
Well, again, like I said previously, it's like being part of another family, but also it's like having a new addition, because I was a new addition and I came along, and so on my first show, it was with yourself and 2 others who we didn't know each other. And then every time you go on a show, you meet others, and then new people come on. Like a lot of people have probably done it from the beginning. But it's just like this family just growing, so it's lovely. You've got like these little people that was there from the beginning, and then we're expanding. And then we've got these other little chicks that are just being hatched. And you're saying, oh, we've got a new one. And it's like, oh, welcome. And it's just a lovely environment to be in, especially in these times. And it's nice. It's like a little loose family.
Well, the thing is, believe it or not, we're hitting 30 panelists now. 30 panelists.
Wow.
That we've got.
Yeah.
And we're still, if you are watching this, we are still looking for more. We're hoping to hit the 35 mark. So if you are interested, please come. If somebody said to you, Claire, if somebody came up to you and said, tell me what makes a good panelist, what would you say?
I would just say to be yourself, because like I've said previously, everybody is individual. So, it's no good pretending that that this person, because everybody is individual. So, when you come on the show, just speak what you think, because then that makes you individual. You don't have to follow the sheep. You think what you think, because that's what make the world go by. That's what politics is all about. It's you being you. And don't be scared to say what, if you're on a panel of 4 and you're the one person that says that, then that's your prerogative to say that, because that's you,
Someone will always agree with you. No matter what you say.
Totally.
Different people will always.
Oh, never. No.
I've had a lot of messages in the past stating that it seems like a very nice show, and actually we've had big debates on the show, and people have said you can't always surely be all friendly and all nice by the end of it. Is that your experience on the show, Claire? If you have had a moment where you thought, actually, I'm a bit uncomfortable with this?
No, not necessarily. Again, if you go back to Loose Women, they know each other. They know each other personally, as viewers know roughly a lot about them. Whereas us on Loose Links, we are just a family of people who are getting together to discuss things. So I'm not saying that things we're trying to keep things low, because if we've got an opinion, we will say it. But it's just the fact that the people who are on it at the moment are at a level where they're not going to be adamant to say, well, no, I don't think that, and if it wants to go ahead, it will go ahead. But at the moment, and the topics that we've spoken about, we've not necessarily agreed, but, and I think sometimes on Loose Women, they're on the telly, and, they've probably been told to They might have. I'm not saying because I don't know. Let's fire it up a bit, you know, and you have got the fiery people, you know, so I don't know.
And I do feel where it loose, because the whole project, I don't know if you know, but the whole project started off as Loose Lincoln all that time ago, and we partly closed it down because it was targeting one audience.
Yeah.
And I believe it or not now, this has run over a year. But just in I've never thought about it actually. A year this month. The whole project of the Loose, let's say the whole project of Loose started. It started last March, and I feel we are developing. Like last March, the first couple of shows, it was very much directed of, right, this is the topic. What do you think, Joe? What do you think, Mandy? What do you think, Claire? And it was very much passing pillar to post around there. And what's been the beauty of being the anchor again is that watching that people, it's almost like I can sit back sometimes, because I'll say something and somebody will say something and then somebody will jump off the cuff of that conversation. And I feel people are getting braver. So people are saying, well, actually, no, I don't agree with that. I don't completely agree with that.
Totally.
But it's having that confidence, and it's telling people, and it's also giving people that confidence. So when you do have somebody that's quite shy and quite nervous, it's about me in the nicest possible way pushing that and pushing that person to speak. So all the time in my head on Loose Women, they've got somebody in their ear. All the time through the show, I've got a list of things. Make sure everybody talks, make sure everybody gets the word in, make sure this, that, and the other. So there's 10,000 things. And remember to smile, Nick.
Yeah.
You're still doing a show, but remember to smile, even though there's 10,000 things going on through your head. Have you enjoyed up to now your experience being part of a Loose Links panelist?
Oh, totally. Like I say, it's just a different experience. Like I say, a new family. I've not met them, but again, in these surreal times, like you say, you've been on air now a year, so it's given me something to do, as in the panelists, but also hopefully the viewers, you know, get something to look forward to on a Tuesday evening to sit down at 9 o'clock and listen to Loose Links. So for me, it's been good because it has brought me out of my comfort zone a bit. And as I say, I'm just now looking at me, and then I look down at you, and I just think, well, there's only us two, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, let's just. And
you forget, I don't know about you, but I'm just as nervous as the rest of the panelists. Don't get me wrong, week by week, I'm nervous about what's going to be said and are we going to offend anybody, or week by week. But I tend to forget that it's even recording.
Exactly.
Do you
Me
know
too.
what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like I'm just catching up with a couple of friends.
That's it. And that's what I say about, you know, the first couple, I must admit, is a bit like, ooh, but then after it's like, I'm catching up with friends, you know what I mean? And even, like I say, the panelists change, you know, so I might be on with Joe and Fred one week, and then Sylvia and, I don't know, someone else the next. You don't know, and you've never met them before. But like, again, that's what makes us all different. And then it's great to find out how feisty we all are, or not, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully just to bring us out of our shells and to get on with it. It's good.
So do you recommend to friends and family to watch the show?
Oh, totally. Yes, definitely. In fact, I must do it a bit more often. Especially at work. Now that I've got into it, because of course to start with, it were like, no, you are not watching me. But then I just think, you know, come and watch and have your opinion. And as I say, like us, you know, come on to the polls and give us your opinion on what you think.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of our first Get Loose on a Friday night. And can I thank my panel for this evening, Claire Browning-May. Thank you for stepping forward, Claire.
You're very welcome. It was great. Thank you.
And a very, very valued panel to the team. So thank you very, very much, because
Thank you.
I've watched you develop as well. I've watched you grow. I've watched you change, and it's a pleasure to have you part of Loose Links.
Thank you.
So join us sometime next month where it might be something a bit different. Who knows? You might see a bit of the behind the scenes, or you might see another panelist. But this will only be happening on YouTube. So make sure you tune in. We'll see you on Tuesday night, where, my word, have we got some debates to talk to you about this week. It's going to be quite a fiery show, so get prepared, Claire. See you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.